Ignex. I'm hoping the server will fill up. I'm on Cold War at the moment, but there's only 3 of us on here. Didn't reply to you. I didn't notice that you'd sent more messages. I haven't checked Discord for a bit. Oh, yeah, no. Definitely. It's pretty simple, so it shouldn't take you long to pick. As far as SRS goes, really all I bothered about was setting it up. I don't really use like proper radio procedure, to be honest. I'm a bit gung-ho with my comms. As long as the person that needs to understand them understands them, I don't really care how professional it sounds. Not in DCS anyway. Okay, flaps, trim, everything is good. My teammate in the SU-25 is Russian, but I think he speaks English. I'm not sure. He attempted to speak to me in Russian. So if I can figure out where he is, I'll go cover him, but I'm not entirely sure where he's gone to. I think both of those are our AWACS, but I'm not sure. That's their AWACS. So if you know how to use the F10 map, that's basically all you do as a GCI anyway. You're just using that to direct friendly aircraft onto enemies. He's likely to be over crimps, so we'll dial this back down to channel 2. I'm going to be below the beacon altitude anyway. Hey Max. Why are you going to fucking cry, Max? What's wrong? Oof. That sucks, man. I hate exams. Like, even when I'm probably going to do well on them, the pressure is just insane. And then, the few times I've been really confident, I've fucked it up. And I've had a couple cases where I've been confident I was going to pass something, failed it really badly, and then I've just basically given up. I just know where this F5 is. Seven, 4 for 90. There we go. That's our F5. $90 so he's way out past Krimsk. It's interesting. He might have just taken off, maybe. 90 kilometers sounds like an upper. Very close to an upper. Great joke. Hit me with it. Nice. Okay, so my SU-25 is 35 kilometers east of their AWACS. Or correction, yeah, east of it. Hello? Can I get a reply, please? So I got about 70 kilometers until I hit where my SU-25 is. I'm now past Krimsk, which is that airfield right there. That is Krimsk, which is friendly held. For 60. And it's going to be on the deck or close to it. So we'll get low. I see smoke. I'd say that's where our SU-25 has been. Friendly tank's empty, we'll get rid of it. Immediately got to retrim now that that's gone. Tell me what the difference is between the different versions of the PSO scope. I believe the reticle's different, and the calibration is different. I can't remember which version corresponds to which caliber and which reticle though. I think that's what the case is, although I'm not 100% sure. So, the PSO1 is the SVD scope, so that's calibrated for 762x54. Oh fuck. South. I can't see it. 269 for 2. Frame rate's taking a dump. Really close. Oh, he's right on me. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to get rid of him. Actually, yes I am. Try and force him to overshoot. There he is, he's still behind me. For guns. He's probably used all his missiles on the SU-25 already. Well, he tagged me there. And I'm hit quite badly. Oh god. I fucking hate fighting F5s without a GCI. You don't even know they're there until they've shot you already. Like, I didn't get a merge call until I was right on top of him. And I couldn't see him by then. Well, I'm out of flares. No idea. He's behind me. I'm probably leaking fuel, which is not good. I'm faster than him, but that's probably not going to save me. Especially if I do have a fuel leak, which I think I do. It's just going to mean I lose my engine sooner. Can't even see him through the smoke. Is he still chasing me? I don't know, I can't see. 37 for 11. That's their AWACS. Where is this little shithead? Our AWACS can't see him. It's So I have no warning that he's here. Wait, did he just go under me? Oh, he's right behind me. I can see his shadow. I can't see him, but I can see his shadow. MiG-21 problems. Can't see a plane directly behind you. And I can't make him overshoot. I'm trying, but I just can't do it. I'm too low. And too slow. Well, not too slow, but like... I can't maneuver violently enough. I can't see him. I'm trying to drag him up so the AWACS can at least cue me onto him, but he won't do it. He's not taking the bait. Oh, there he is. Still can't get him to overshoot me. Can't even keep my eyes on him. Come on, go past me. Oh my god. I'm dead. I can't get rid of him. So either I'm gonna run out of fuel, or he's gonna kill me. And the insulting thing is, I've still got all my missiles, but I just cannot do anything about him with him behind me like that. I can't outturn him. I can't build the speed to get away from him. And when he does overshoot me, I can't keep my eyes on him. Oh, here we go. Here we go! Now you fucked up! If I can just keep the plane in the air... Oh, come on, come on. Don't do this to me. Come on. Yeah, stay an afterburner. That's it. Put some distance between us. I'm really risking a stall here. But if I can just crank the nose... Just crank the nose a little more. It's times like this I wish the angle of attack indicator was actually on the canopy bars instead of on the dash. It was on some MiG-21 variants. I'm not going to be able to catch him in these turns. Not without yep, there goes the stall. Fuck! And my teammate's in an Su-25, God knows where, so I've got no support. And I'm about to run out of fuel. Yep, there's nothing I can do against this guy. I'm not chasing anyone, I'm being chased. This is like the only F5 I've come across who isn't stupid enough to follow me into a tail stand. Usually I just cross the controls and force them to go past me or into the ground, but he's not falling for it. He's staying far enough behind me that he can tell what I'm going to do, try and force an overshoot. There goes the... Nope, still got the engine. There he is. Overshoot me, you little fuck. Where's he gone? See, and then when he does go past, I instantly lose sight of him. And then compare this to yesterday when I had a GCI and I was the one ambushing them. The MiG-21 has no situational awareness, none. Like, Pom says that he'd rather be in this than an F5. He reckons this is better than the F5, but close in, no it's not. You can't see anything. Like, he's behind me. I know he's right on my tail, but I can't see him. Okay, there he is. But I've got 100 liters of fuel. So what I'm gonna do is just land in a field, because there's nothing I can do here. Oh, of course, those are solid. The bushes are solid. Why wouldn't they be? Should have gone vertical, I tried. He kept up with me. I didn't have enough speed. Like, I didn't know he was there until he had already hit me, basically. Because we have no GCI and the AWACS is absolutely worthless.
Перезарядка по плану. Прием. Командир, оружие подвешено.
35 degrees outside. Yeah, that's pretty warm. Anything over about 25 is uncomfortably hot for me. Past about 30, I start wanting to just like go lay down and die somewhere, and once it gets past 40, I cannot function. The hottest temperature I've ever personally experienced, like the hottest ambient temperature I've ever experienced, was about 51 degrees, which was really unpleasant. I might see if I can bait that F5 off the ground, because if he stays down low like that, the AWACS isn't going to see him. So... And the problem as well is the AWACS, like, you have to be able to call it right as they're spotted, because if they aren't within its view when you call, you will get clean as a response, or you'll get the enemy AWACS instead. Like, the AI AWACS will not tell you what a target's doing, it won't tell you where a target was last seen, it only tells you where the nearest thing is right now, as soon as you press the AWACS call button. Doesn't tell you which direction they're going, other than, you know, kind of vague directions.
Ross streamer donated $1. Pepega streamer.
Wow. Okay. Thanks, I guess. Oh no, I know who it is. And they are not wrong. Yeah, so I discovered earlier today when I got an email from PayPal that despite the fact I thought I'd approved a payment, it didn't go through, and so Ace's last donation got sent back to him. Because I thought I'd accepted it, but nope, apparently not. Why I can't just have it automatically accept any payment to start with is beyond me, but such as PayPal, I guess. It's just calling their AWACS. So where's Krimsk? Krimsk is over there. That's it right there. That's where the Su-25 is flying from. The problem is, if I stay up here, yes, it'll force the F5 to come up and fight me, but it also means that the Su-25 has no cover. Like, I need to be near the ground to cover my 25, but that works out better for him than it does for me. There we go, 251 for 70. It's pretty much off the nose, so he's probably just taken off. Be over there somewhere. Which is about where an upper airfield is. I keep meaning to expand the playlist and make some extra ones, I just haven't got around to it yet. 229 for 27. R16. Oh, hello, we got missile trails. There's something. I'd say that's him. I can't get IFF on it though. Oh shit, he's in a fight with her. I think that's him. Yep, that's the F5 there. Looks like it's tracking. Just missed him. I think it actually detonated on his exhaust. Oh, no, there we go. He dead. Down to 2 R60s and both my radar missiles. Well, the thing is, I upload the VODs to YouTube afterwards, so I have like a long-term archive of them, but YouTube mutes a lot of music. Or sorry, Twitch mutes a lot of music, and then YouTube will block videos globally sometimes, or in certain countries based on what song it is, so I gotta be really careful about what I put on the playlist. Like, one song that's on this playlist will cause the VOD to be muted. I've just gotta be quick enough in exporting it that it's not done before it hits YouTube. I'd go kill their AWACS, but unfortunately AWACS on this server is set to invulnerable, which I really don't know if I agree with. Like, I understand why it is, it's to stop people killing it at low population times, like now, but when you've got a single enemy who's playing hard to get, there's not really a lot else to do as a fighter. And it would kind of punish him for hiding down in the weeds. So the SU-25 just landed. It might take that F5 a while to start back up. So I'm just going to loiter here for a bit. And hang around Crinks. I don't know, but probably. They broke a lot of things, so it wouldn't surprise me. Incidentally, I discovered earlier, well, yesterday morning now, that the MiG-23UB doesn't have a HUD. It has the same gun sight as this, the ASP. So I might have to inform Cuban of that. I'm not sure if he knows already, but It shouldn't have a HUD, it should have one of these. Which makes sense, I guess. It was meant to be a low-cost trainer, which is why they didn't put a radar in it. It's basically a conversion trainer, not a combat aircraft.
21-й, 104-й, дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
'em really hoping more people jump on the server. There were quite a few people on yesterday around this time, so maybe, we'll see. Some more players in a GCI would be very nice.
21-й, 104-й, дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 21-й, 153-й, дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
Yeah, they probably broke the mip maps, which they've done with most cockpits. So you might need to see if you can get a texture pack that doesn't have mip maps in it, which is like the lower resolution versions that loads when you're further away from something. 306 for 30. It's right off my nose. He's over there somewhere. Going into the merge. There he is. And I lost sight of him behind the periscope, but I know generally where he is.
21-й, 104-й, 104-й, дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
Oh, come on! AWACS can't see him anymore.
21-й, 153-й, дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
We'll try and stay above him, force him to come up and play with me. Problem is, when he's that close to the ground, the radar is useless, because I need to be below him to see him, and I can't be below him if he's on the ground. 246 for 5. Back up. 0982, he's behind me again. I don't see him. We'll get up into the contrails. He'll be able to see me, but then if he comes up, I can see him as well. More power. There he is. Try and abuse my speed to get away from him. Can't see him anymore. Might have gone down under me. Or is he behind again? 113 for 3. He's behind me somewhere. I can't fucking see him. I don't know why RSU-25 is calling for bogey dopes. Like, this guy's on me, he's ignoring the 25. 267 for 3. Oh! Okay. Cool. Yep, never saw him after the initial merge. Never saw him. I hate dealing with F5s blind, because you can't see them when they get behind you. Like, there's no counter to them. They're just fucking invisible. I mean, I could turn the markers on. Well, if the server allows you to, I don't know if it does, but that feels really cheap. Because then you can see everything. Like, with the dot markers on, you can see fucking everything. Without them, you can't see. Especially not in F5, it's too small. One of the many frustrating things about this game that has never been fixed, while ED announced more and more pre-order modules, which also are not likely to be finished for the next 5 years. I mean, to be honest, most people that I'm getting killed by like this probably do have them turned on, because his... Maybe not on that flight because I was higher up, but certainly the first time, he shouldn't have been able to see me very well either. Like, his AWAC shouldn't have had much view of what was going on around him either. And yet he could, so who knows. It's just really irritating, because I know if I had a GCI, I would be mopping the floor with him. Like, that's the difference between getting killed over and over in the MiG-21 without seeing your enemy, and killing them over and over. It's literally whether you have a GCI or not. Because the aircraft is intended to be operated with one. Like, and this is the thing with Soviet aircraft, they were all intended to be operated with a GCI. Every single one of them. No exceptions. There is no Soviet-era combat aircraft that was designed to fly off its own radar and find its own targets. Even the ones with powerful radars were intended to fly under GCI. So, the fact that there's no useful in-game GCI feature, just this worthless AWACS, and the fact that almost nobody plays GCI, it makes it really hard to compete with American aircraft. I mean, the F5 not so much, because the F5 has a lot of the same limitations, just not quite as severe. What am I doing? Canopy seal. That's in shooting mode. But yeah, it's just frustrating, because I know I should be able to kill him. I just can't see him, and you can't kill what you can't see. And the radar won't pick him up at low level, so, like, I've got my radar on, but I may as well not bother. There's no point, because it's not going to pick him up. All it's going to get is ground clutter. Okay, that's off. Falcon BMS? Yeah, but BMS has, like, a way better campaign system. Like, that's the thing. The only area, really, where DCS has the advantage, well, areas, are flight modeling and graphics. That's it. The campaign in Falcon BMS is better. The AI controllers for the ATC and the AWACS in BMS are better. Like, everything but the actual flight in BMS is better than DCS, and probably always will be. But, you know, DCS can kind of make up a lot of the difference with human players if they take the right slots. I mean, even IL-2 1946, which is a very old game, I'm pretty sure it's older than Lock On, even that had better visibility than this because of the way they did the LODs. But in DCS, it's just, as soon as they get far enough away, they vanish. And they don't even have to get very far. My frame rate is absolutely tanking for some reason. This patch is just... like, I was pretty close to just giving up on DCS until they fix it or going back to stable, and I'm still tempted. I want to play, but it's so difficult. Because the game runs like shit, everything's broken. Like, there's 4 people in this server. It should not be running this badly. 4 people. Totally just talked over him, but 263 for 150, that's their AWACS. The Harrier's probably still starting up. The F5 will still be in the air, but he's down in the weeds, so our AWACS is going to see him. A lot of DCS's most infuriating problems are not even hard to solve. They just won't do it because ED's business model is fucked up 9 ways to Sunday. And rather than fix the game and solve problems that have been around since lock-on, you know, nearly 15 years ago, rather than do that, they want to just release more modules to make more money in the short term. It's not sustainable. Like, it's not even close to sustainable. Because the more broken the base game gets, the less people are going to be interested in buying new modules, because the less people are going to want to play it. Yeah, you get them everywhere. Yeah, the MiG-21 does have an RWR, if you could call it that. It's this thing here. It's useless. It tells you basically nothing. Right now I'm being pinged from my rear quarter on the left and my 6 o'clock-ish by my own AWACS. That's my own AWACS pinging me. When I get locked, the whole thing just lights up, so you can't even tell where you're being locked from. It's terrible. It's really, really bad. To be fair, apparently it's not as bad in real life as it is in game, but they haven't modeled it properly. 254 for 70. It was too far out to pick him up on radar, but I'm just going to turn it on now, so I don't forget to later. Pick up some speed. What HOTAS? The Thrustmaster Warthog. The F5, like, I'm not even using radar on him because he's too low for me to pick up, so it's not going to help him much. He's just, what he's doing is he's staying down really low, and I guess taking advantage of the fact that he's closer to his AWACS so he can see better. And then when I get anywhere near him, he ambushes me, and I can't see him because he's an F5, and I'm a MiG-21, and I can't see behind me. And the spotting system is broken. Get rid of the belly tank. So past Krimsk now. And AWACS is not talking to me anymore. Excellent. I don't care about their AWACS. Tell me where this F5 is. Please. 226 for 25. I can't see him. He's directly off my nose, or was directly off my nose, and I cannot see him. He's probably past me now. AWACS doesn't see him anymore. Never saw him. Never even saw him. He was directly off my nose. Directly off my nose, within 10 kilometers. Closing, and I couldn't see him. I think I'm just gonna jump to another server. There's no point playing on here with no GCI because the F5s just abuse the fact that you can't see anything. And my teammate's in an SU-25 doing God knows what, so I have no cover at all. Right, we'll join this clusterfuck. I'll fly the MiG-29. There's a lot of people, and I'll probably fly the SU-27 actually, just because the data link makes it a little less confusing. So I guess I better change the stream title. Yeah, everyone does use the Warthog. Like, if I had, you know, my time again, I would probably get the T-50 instead, because I'd mostly fly Soviet aircraft, so having something that's basically a MiG-29 or SU-27 stick would suit me a lot better. This server might take a while to load into, because there's a billion people in it, and there's even more ground units than there are people flying. Okay, so unless I've got the wrong server address, looks like the simple radio for this server is down again, which it usually is when I play on here. Not that I think anyone on Red coordinates anyway. Most of the people that play Red on this server, instead of actually coordinating, they will fly to J11 with a full load out of R77s, launch them at the first thing they see, be it friendly or enemy, and spend the rest of their time trying to pull Cobras over Tbilisi at, like, Mach 1 and rip their own wings, and then crater the runway with wreckage. That's how people play Red on here. Anytime this week, we will actually get into the server. So the server I was just on, which is Alpenwolf's Cold War, when it's actually populated and there's a GCI for Red, that is my favourite server to play on. I love it. And last night I was able to do that. I got a couple kills in the MiG-21. But the problem is, it doesn't populate until the early hours of the morning my time. It's 3:13 AM here right now, and the server's still empty. It usually doesn't start filling up until about 4 or 5 in the morning. So, yeah, it isn't real convenient for me to play on, unfortunately. When I do want to fly the MiG-21, it's empty, and by the time it fills up, I have other things to do, like sleep, or, you know... So, Growling Sidewinder server is the main sort of server I've been playing on lately, just because it's the only one with people in it when I'm online. I do get on Just Dogfight when I can find people to go against with guns in that, but... I really, really wish the Cold War server was more populated. Because I really don't enjoy PvE anymore. It's just easy. Like, if even I can go around knocking planes out of the sky by the dozens, something is wrong. So I pretty much avoid PvE unless it's just to brush up on the Tomcat or something like that, or for ground strike stuff. Let's see. The other problem on this server is that because the patch broke literally everything, and the game now loads textures really slowly, sometimes it takes me 5 minutes to load all the textures and actually get off the ground on here. So they allegedly fixed a graphics-related memory leak, and in the process they made it take several minutes to load textures for me instead of 30 seconds or less. They made it so that the game stutters and freezes constantly instead of maybe once or twice before it runs smoothly. And it uses exactly as much memory as it used beforehand, so that, no, they didn't fix the memory leak. If anything, they probably made it worse. So that was very nice of them. Thanks, ED, for that brilliant patch.
Перезарядка по плану. Принял.
Okay. Hopefully none of that shrapnel hit me. He might have spawned in a crater. They've already had to ban JSOWs on this server because Blue was just spamming them at us. Which makes sense on something like DCS, but this is like pretty much Airquake, so it was a bit, you know, shitty of them. I swear to God, if you start a takeoff roll... Oh, thank God. I don't know how to use the mission editor, so I can't help you with that, I'm sorry. Somebody in chat might be able to. So I'm hoping as well I don't pass the Tomcat at any point here, because thanks to the messed up texture loading now, if I go near a Tomcat, when it goes to switch the LODs on the textures, it freezes my game. I very nearly died on takeoff the other day on this server because a Tomcat was next to me on the runway. Oh, there we go. Game's frozen because there's an F-14 right there.
Запрещаю. 109. Латиния. Взлет по готовности. Отход по схеме на 300. Подавление 7, 1, 5.
Oh, there we go. Game's frozen. Because they do fix their damn game, they will not get any positive fucking press from me, that's for sure. Like, everyone's been complaining about this patch. Most people haven't been as heavily affected as me because my PC couldn't... Well, like, you can run DCS, but it can't run it very well. So, I guess I end up being like the coal mine canary when a patch breaks something because I'm the most affected performance-wise. But everyone's having performance issues. A lot of the different modules have broken features. So, the game is in a very bad state at the moment. Oh, was that my internet? Brilliant. I don't know if I'm back up or... Oh no, there we go. I guess you guys can hear me. So yeah, until they fix their damn game, I want to play it. I really do. DCS is a lot of fun, and I really enjoy playing it, and if I go a day without playing it, I start getting withdrawal from it. Like, the last time my PC broke, I was absolutely jonesing for DCS. But because it's unplayable at the moment, it's just frustrating. Every time I launch it, something goes wrong because of this patch. Yeah, it's like, and I had no issues before the patch. None. The game ran perfectly for me before it. Like, yeah, it didn't have the best frame rate because I've got an old PC, but I had very few crashes. It loaded fast, except on 1 or 2 servers, and it was stable. And now it takes forever to load. It's constantly freezing while I'm in game as it loads, and it crashes and times out even more than, you know, it times out more than it used to. So I'm tempted to just go back to the stable branch until they fix this, because from what I can tell, they're not going to fix it anytime soon. Well, we can get rid of that. Let's see. We'll play something else for a bit. Might play some Tarkov, I guess. Sorry about that, guys, but there's no point playing if the game's not going to run playably. Oh, now I can't even find the DCS process to end it. There we go. Yeah, so it's still using 10 gigabytes of memory, which is about what it used to use before they fixed the memory leak. So no, they haven't fixed shit, they've made it worse. I actually wish they just skipped the patch and just left it as is. Like, if they haven't got a working patch, they shouldn't release it. Still haven't been able to just, I don't know, spin a bottle or something. Or use a random number generator to come up with something. Now, I'm not sure if my Tarkov's up to date. It probably is. It should be good. But we will see. Where is it? EFT. There we go. And I fixed the title. Heard you need 32 gigs for really populated servers. Yes, in fact, I would say you need 32 gigs for any populated server if there's more than like 3 or 4 people on it. I started out with 16 when I first got DCS and it was very near unplayable. And then I ended up getting 32 and I still have sort of, you know, micro freezes and stutters here and there, but it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. And again, until this patch broke everything, it was mostly alright. One of the other things as well is I am running DCS off of a hard drive, not an SSD. So that does make the game run slower and it makes it stutter a bit more. But again, before this patch hit, it was tolerable. Like, it was very, very minimal. I had no issues with it. It might be frustrating now and then, but it wasn't, like, terrible. And now I can't play more than 10 minutes without the game totally freezing on me or getting me killed or crashing or something like that happening. But the problem is, DCS itself is kind of like War Thunder in a way. So they took Lock On from 2000 and... when did it come out? 2003, 2004? Lock On is a very old game. They took Lock On, they built... they added a bunch of stuff onto the engine for the full fidelity aircraft, and then they started adding in new graphics stuff. So basically we're playing Lock On with better graphics, which is why the game is so janky. A lot of the coding in there is legacy shit from 2003, which hasn't been touched since. And War Thunder's kind of similar in a way, in that War Thunder is based off of IL-2 Birds of Prey, which was like a console tie-in for IL-2 from about 2005, 2006, something like that. And it reuses a lot of assets from that. Yeah, I need to start playing the new IL-2. I've got to set up my controls and everything in it. I might do that actually, while DCS is broken. I might start getting into the new IL-2 and just play that instead. Because I can be pretty sure it's going to run better than DCS is. Alright, let's take a scav. I'll do a shoreline run. I know I kind of spam shoreline, but that's because I know the map. And customs is a bit claustrophobic. See, this is the issue I have with Tarkov, is because you can't walk in water, not even ankle deep water, there's invisible walls because, you know, because of that, and because you can't vault over fences like I can in, say, Arma 3 with enhanced movement, maps like Customs are extremely restrictive. Basically, all it takes is one guy with a decent rifle and good reflexes, and he can lock down the entire of customs, because he can control a choke point, which you have to go through to get anywhere. That is my problem with that map. Like, otherwise, I like the map, but it's just, without the ability to climb over fences and walls and things like that within reason, and without the ability to cut through water, even shallow water, it's just a death funnel, basically. Shoreline has some of the same issues, but not as bad. Don't be so sure about IL-2. Yeah, but, I mean, Troll, it can't be as fucked up as DCS right now. Like, it just can't. I can't actually think of a game I play off the top of my head that is as badly broken as DCS currently. Which is really saying something, because I play a lot of Tarkov and I play a lot of Stalker. And DayZ. Even DayZ is less fucked up than DCS right now. And if that doesn't say a lot, then I don't know what does. Hopefully we'll actually get into a raid here. Armor? Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, it might not be as broken as armor. Well, I mean, to be fair, most of the things that are broken in armor are related to mods. So yeah, it's probably still worse broken than armor is. I tell you what though, Arma 3 has really spoiled me when it comes to shooters, especially like sort of realistic shooters like Tarkov. Because being able to adjust the height of your stance in Arma 3, you don't realize how important that is until you don't have it. Like, the ability to actually crouch down a bit lower so you can shoot through a loophole in a building, or pop your head up over cover without standing up fully, is just enormously valuable. Like, I don't know how I survived without it before, and now every time I play a game that doesn't have that, it frustrates me. Like when I come to a window or something and I want to bipod my machine gun on it, but it's just not quite the right height and I can't do it. The other thing that really does get me is the enhanced movement. So that's not even a base armor feature. The enhanced movement mod we use, though, is really good. You can use it to boost up on top of other people and get onto things. You can use it to vault fences, climb up walls, climb on top of vehicles, all sorts of things like that. And especially in a game like Tarkov, where, for instance, on customs, you have so many fences that, you know, an actual human could climb easily. You just jump up, grab, and haul yourself over. Or, you know, things like chest-high walls that you can't jump high enough to clear in Tarkov, but in real life you could easily get over. Or even things like, you know, being able to boost. That's something that I really, really miss from Arma 3. Being able to boost on top of someone to get over something like, you know, an 8-foot fence or something, or onto the top of a building. That's really good. About that new Arma DLC, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of happy to see that Bohemia is taking a different direction with things, but I'm also kind of disappointed because I never liked Arma 3's setting to begin with. Like, I have no time for this modern stuff, let alone near future. It just bores me. What I would have preferred to see Arma 3 be was like a 3-way punch-up between NATO, the Warsaw Pact, and Yugoslavia in the 70s. That would be like my dream Arma game, a 3-way fight between those factions. But Bohemia wouldn't do that because the Yugoslavs alone had more diverse equipment than every faction in Arma 3 combined, so we know why that didn't happen. But I don't find modern warfare interesting at all. It does nothing for me. I don't like the aesthetics of any of the equipment because it all looks the same to me. I don't like the over-reliance on technology. I mean, it makes sense, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we should go back to throwing rocks at each other, but it just doesn't interest me. And at the same time, games don't simulate a lot of the things that make that equipment difficult to use in real life. So in Arma 3, if you get your hands on something like a thermal optic, you are God. you can see everyone forever, and there's no way that they can hide from you. Whereas in real life, all you do is just get some kind of transparent object and put it between you and them. If you want to hide something from, say, like a guy with a thermal optic, or like a helicopter with a FLIR system, if you want to hide something from that, just put a sheet of glass in front of it. They can't see through glass because it picks up the temperature of the glass, not whatever's behind it, right? There's all these little things like that, or, you know, dirt getting into equipment, water getting into things, the batteries running out. There's so many things in real life that make it difficult to use all this Gucci high-tech technology, and it's not simulated in games. So in Arma 3, for instance, it becomes an easy mode, where if you take a certain site, you don't even have to aim, basically. It aims for you, pretty much. Whereas in real life, that's not how that works. That's not how that works at all. Oh, just me ranting about Arma 3's setting. Not a lot. I was just saying that I don't like the sort of modern and near-future warfare setting, because it doesn't simulate a lot of the problems that come with using technology in a real battlefield, like, you know, maintaining equipment and supply of batteries, and the very simple low-tech ways that you can fool things like thermal optics. None of that works in Arma. None of that works in any game I can think of, but in real life, it's a problem. It's a big problem. Well, I mean, it kind of... It doesn't really bill itself as one, I guess, but it kind of hints at being one. Like, it's marketed as hyper-realistic. But I think probably, even if its engine was capable of portraying that stuff, I don't think that Bohemia would have actually included it, because, and this is the thing as well, there's a lot of things on the MiG-21 module in DCS that are not realistic. They're minor things, but they are there. And the reason that they did that was because they thought it would be too tedious or too difficult for the average DCS player. So we don't have a fully accurate simulation of the MiG-21 because of that. As I play Tetris here with my pockets. And Arma 3 is the same. Like, they're not going to add in having to change the battery in your optic, or having to keep it dry, or having to keep it from getting burnt out if someone points a bright light at it. They're not going to simulate dudes, you know, using cling film to hide themselves from a thermal optic. So even though it's not a simulator, it's still, I want to say balanced, but the way that the game plays out doesn't reflect real life, and I would argue it's not really that, not only not realistic, but it's not really that interesting either, because you don't have to deal with anything. Like, you know, you get a thermal optic on your rifle, and it's basically an I win button over anyone that's not using a thermal optic, because it doesn't simulate any of the problems of it, and it doesn't balance it in any way. This is a thing that a lot of people don't realize. Like, a lot of the time, if you complain about balance and gameplay in something that is billed as a simulator or is billed as realistic, people will say, it's a simulator, real war isn't balanced, why don't you go play Call of Duty, or why don't you go play, you know, whatever game, go play War Thunder if you want balance. Not that War Thunder's ever been balanced in the time it's been out, but you know what I mean. And people don't realize that that's correct, but a game needs to be actually worth playing. And quite aside from that, there are things that balance out on a grander scale in warfare. You know, two pieces of equipment might not be balanced against each other, but in the grander scheme of things, they are. Because the better piece of equipment's more expensive and more difficult to maintain, which isn't simulated in-game. You know, the difference in maintenance hours between, say, a MiG-21 and an F-4 Phantom is obscene. I think the MiG-21's about 8 hours of maintenance per hour of flying time, and the Phantom's more like 70. So, Like, there's things in real life that balance these things out, but you end up with games in this kind of weird middle zone where it's not a simulator, so it doesn't simulate the problems of the equipment, but it also doesn't... It thinks it's too much of a simulator to balance them, if that makes sense. No, I'm not going to bother taking that. Every War Thunder player yelling Russian bias. Well, you know, I would argue that Russian bias does... Well, I would say that Russian bias has never existed in War Thunder or World of Tanks. What I would say is that people are quick to jump on that because it's an easier thing to say than to actually point out the real problems. For instance, if you want to see a big problem with War Thunder... Oh wow, that's the first time I've ever successfully breached a door, and there's nothing in here. Wait, what? 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 Why is there a chair on the roof? What the fuck? Okay, well, right. We'll just leave that room. What was I saying? I was going somewhere with that. Oh yeah, okay, so, the Yak-9T... Yeah, that was a bit of a balance issue. That aircraft specifically. Some of the higher tier Yaks are better than the Yak-9T. Like, the Yak-9P and the Yak-9U are fucking incredible planes. They're far better than the 9T, but they're balanced, because other aircraft at their tier are just as capable. A lot of the reason people cry about the Yaks is because they try and turn fight them in aircraft that cannot turn fight. But as well as that, a lot of people then ignore other things of questionable balance. If it's not from the Soviet tech tree, they won't complain. So, for instance, they won't complain about the fact that German tank shells, if they penetrate your tank, will one-shot you no matter what because of the APHE charge. The Soviet ones do it too, but the Germans are really bad for it. If they penetrate, they will kill you. Whereas the British... get marshmallow dispensers. You can fire an APDS round at whatever you like, it will go clean through one side and out the other, but it will do no damage. I've had games where, in my Centurion, I've had to hit a tank 4 or 5 or 6 times, penetrated every shot, to individually snipe crewmen out of the tank, because for some reason Gaijin believe that a Sabo hitting a tank will not cause enough internal damage to at least wound the other crew, or make the tank ineffective. By the same token, some of the American tanks, like the T-29, because they're so huge, if you fire a shell into the side of that thing, it's just going to get absorbed. The T-29 is like a black hole with tracks attached to it, because any shell you put into that tank, it'll penetrate, but it won't do anything, because the shrapnel has time to decelerate before it finds a module. Like, there's so much space in the tank. So there's a lot of balance issues that people don't address, and they all just kind of pile on the easy way of saying, oh, well, Russian bias. Like, no. That's not how that works. Friend fell prey to microtransactions. Yeah, I may have spent a considerable amount of money over the course of a decade on microtransactions in certain games. I mean, to be fair, I played those games, like, a lot, so it's not like I played the game once and spent thousands on it, like some people, but yeah. I played a lot of World of Tanks for about 5 years or so, and I did sink quite a bit of money into that game. With that said, I could afford it better then than I can now, so... I think we all have at this point, and the problem is... Okay, can't breach that one. The problem is, people complain about it, but, and this, I'm guilty of this too, I think we all are. People complain about it, but they won't stop spending on them themselves. And you can complain until you're blue in the face, but until you actually act on something, it's not going to make a blind bit of fucking difference. You know, it's... Until you actually vote with your wallet, It's not going to make a bit of difference. And the problem is, the few people that do actually stop sinking money into it aren't enough to offset the people that do continue sinking money into it. Yeah, exactly. Same here. I mean, especially, I think I'm a bit less prone to it than some people, because I will generally not put money into the game for anything I don't actually want. Now, with World of Tanks and World of Warships, I did develop a bit of a gotta catch 'em all mentality, but I never did with War Thunder, which is good. The only problem is, War Thunder's economy, at least until recently, I'm not sure about now, War Thunder's economy was a shitfest, especially at high tiers. The grind was just incredibly painful. And so when they released certain tanks which I was dying to play, like, say, the T-64, my favourite Cold War tank of all time, your boy here dropped a bunch of money to just skip the grind. I think I skipped from one of the I didn't skip all the way up. I had kind of slowly, over the course of several years, ground up to the T-55, or T-54, and then I skipped up, like, a couple of tanks just to boost my way up there. So yeah, like, I can sit here and chat shit all day, but I'm just as guilty as anyone else, and that's the problem. Oh, hello. Bleach. If only I could drink it. Oh wow, some fucking Mortine as well. Paid. Okay, we'll put that in there. Not entirely sure where I want to go. I might go up to the resort, I guess. War Thunder frustrates me because the damage modeling is questionable. Like, okay, so War Thunder is a lot better now than it was when they first released the ground warfare stuff. A lot better. Like, they put in a lot of really good features, like the little X-ray view that shows you where you hit on the enemy tank and shows you where they hit on you. One of my biggest problems with War Thunder back in the day was that there was no real good shot feedback and the netcode was really ropey, so you would see a shell hit the ground in front of you and then you would die. And it wasn't until they implemented that X-ray view that I realized they actually model shell splinters going through the bottom of the tank. Because, you know, not everyone has time to read the dev blog. So, they have improved the game a lot, but there's still a lot of problems with it, which they haven't fixed, and probably never will bother to. But, it is a much better game than it used to be. I should note as well, and this is, I have, like, contrary to the Russian bias thing, I have kind of like an alternate belief that there's no pro-anybody bias well, no, there might be a slight pro-German bias in some areas, I would argue. But there's an anti-British bias, I reckon, because when War Thunder first came out, I mean, like, first came out in beta, the entire game, every single British aircraft, every single one on the British tech tree had a top speed listed, I don't know if it was actually in the flight models, but on the stat cards, every single one had a top speed below 20 and 70 miles per hour slower than historically correct, which left you with Typhoons that were slower than a real-life Hurricane and Spitfires that could be outpaced by a Bf-109. And it took them a long time to fix that. See, I'm tempted to shoot these guys, but because scavs are telepathic, that'll bite me on the arse later on, and they're probably not that well equipped. So yeah, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with War Thunder. And I don't have a very high opinion of Gaijin themselves as developers, to be quite honest with you. Then again, there aren't many developers I do have a high opinion of anymore. I should probably tell you guys a lot. Two of my favourite developers from back in the olden days were Tripwire Interactive and Valve. Valve have not even tried to make a game in 10 years. They've just been focusing on making money off Steam and trading cards, while pretending they were still making games. Like, if anyone here is still under the illusion that Episode 3 is ever going to happen, it's not. Valve don't make games anymore. Literally the last files that indicate Valve was working on a game actively was, I think, for Left 4 Dead 3 in 2009. Like, they don't. No more Valve games. So between that and their kind of mother knows best attitude when it comes to link filters and stuff on Steam, I've gone right off Valve. And then Tripwire Interactive, oh boy, I've ranted about this numerous times on stream, but suffice to say, Red Orchestra Ostfront was my favourite multiplayer game, and still is. And Red Orchestra 2 seemed like it could be really good right up until release, and then it became the single biggest disappointment I've ever experienced game-wise. And I'm still angry about it. And, like, a lot of the time, and this is something that ED need to sit up and listen to, a lot of the time it's not even the game that's the issue. Like, RO2 isn't a bad game, and it wouldn't take much work to make it perfect. Like, every time I play it, I get frustrated, because I can feel a brilliant game just under the surface, just waiting to get out. And there, you know, a lot of the changes that need to be made to get that out aren't real big. A lot of modders had lists of things that they wanted to do almost immediately. The immersion overhaul guys, I had my own list I drew up. Everything they did, basically, sits pretty much the same as what was on my list. So we all had very much the same kind of ideas. I'm not going to claim I inspired them because, again, we had the same ideas. Everyone did. We knew what was wrong with the game. We tried to tell Tripwire what was wrong with the game, and they gave us attitude. Now, there are certain times you do want to ignore your player base because they don't know what they're talking about. Literally any discussion about balance with World of Tanks, this is the case. Because the vast majority of people don't know how to play the game well, and balancing the game around bad players, that's how you end up with the Waffenträger E100 and the Hellcat. So you only want to listen to your actual good players when you're balancing stuff. But things like RO2, like, you want to listen to your core fans from the original game, because they know what, you know, they're the kind of people that were attracted to the game in the first place. They know what the game needs to be even better. You don't ignore them, give them, like, all kinds of attitude and start mocking them on your own forums, and then listen to a bunch of imports from Call of Duty that played for a week and then quit. Which is basically what Tripwire did. And then after the damage had already been done, they turned around and said, "Oh, we're sorry, we should have listened to our community. We heard you guys wanted Red Orchestra Ostfront again, so here we go. We've literally taken Red Orchestra 2 and just changed the values on all the weapons and everything to be the same as Ostfront," which is not what anyone was asking for, by the way. Classic mode is not what anyone wanted. That was just their kind of half-assed solution to try and shut us up. So yeah, so you can, as you can see, I can talk for days about this shit. I feel very strongly about it, even, shit, nearly 10 years later. Nearly 10 years later. I can't believe it's been that long. That's a bit scary, actually. Here we go. You played World of Warships? Yeah, I do still play it sometimes. I used to stream it. I was kind of thinking of getting back into streaming it recently, but I just haven't got around to it yet. But yeah, I do play it. I want to get back into World of Tanks, because I kind of miss it, but the game has changed so much, I just can't. Like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. And I used to be, like, not good at the game, but I used to be okay at it. Do I hear a footstep then? Like someone jumping down? No, I think it was just me closing the lid on that. Yeah, so that's my very strong opinions about game developers. There you go. Just be broke like me and you never have to spend on micro. Yeah, the problem is, like, I'm broke, but I'm rarely broke enough that I literally can't spend money on things. So I'm broke enough that I'm perpetually broke, because I'm always spending just a little bit on games. But I'm not broke enough that I physically can't spend money on games or I'll starve. It's a bad place to be. CD Projekt Red is alright. Yeah, I've heard CD Projekt's pretty good. I actually have the Witcher series, I've just never got around to playing it. I should probably do that sometime. Like, this is the problem. I have so many games, and I've never played most of them, because I just don't have enough hours in the day, or I don't have the attention span, or, as is the case now, I play so much DCS that I don't play anything else. Like, that's the reason I don't have my controls and stuff set up for IL-2, is because I'm too busy playing DCS to set up controls for another flight sim. But since Eagle Dynamics have so kindly broken their game, I might get round to it now. Got kicked out of a server for killing the Russian tank on Pavlov's house 4 times in 2 rounds. Pavlov's house. Okay, so if you want a good example of one of the reasons RO2 is fucked up, there was a custom map for Ostfront, which was Pavlov's house. Compare that to the RO2 map, and you will see what I mean. The RO2 map, I don't know if Bleach is worth that much. We'll get rid of... Actually, no, we'll just put it in the magazine slot, because I'm not going to be reloading for a while. Yeah, compare the RO2 version of Pavlov's house, which is totally open. There's very little to obscure vision across the square. There's very little cover. Every bit of cover that does exist is a chest-high wall or a prefab trench. This is the thing. You can very easily see that Tripwire built their maps around the cover system, thinking that they would have the next Gears of War on their hands. Instead, the cover system is a piece of shit that gets you killed, and no one uses it except new players that don't know what they're doing. And so there's no organic cover on the map, and there's no concealment because, you know, it's broad daylight and there's not enough smoke to conceal across the square. The RO1 version of the map, it's pre-dawn, so it's dark. It's foggy, there's smoke everywhere, there's wrecked Stugs pushed up to the bottom of the house, so the Germans actually have cover. But at the same time, the visibility is too bad for the Germans to snipe into the house. The only thing that the RO2 version of the map does better is the interior layout of the building, and that's only because the guy that did the custom map didn't know what the interior of a 1930s and 40s era Soviet workers' apartment was like. But everything else, his version is better. He has the trenches, he has the minefields. So I actually have on my... uploaded on my Imager, I don't have it on my PC. Oh, no, I do have it on my PC somewhere, I just don't know where. I have a scan of the hand-drawn map that Pavlov supplied to the guys that reinforced his men on the 25th of November, 1942, which was the day of the attack on the milk house, I think. So yeah, I have that, and I know exactly what the square looked like because I have a hand-drawn map by a guy who was in the house showing everything. It shows the trench works, it shows the minefields, it shows everything. He's even like listed which buildings are destroyed down to the foundations, where the rubble piles are, which buildings are intact. If you guys have played the map in RO2, all those blown up log houses on the north side of the square, which is the right-hand side coming out of the Soviet spawn, that's the north side. All of those, in real life, were reconnaissance positions. The Germans had scouts in them. Because every single one of those houses on his map has the abbreviation RAZ for Razvedki. Every single one. But in the game, you can't access them because they're past an invisible wall off the edge of the map. In the custom map for Red Orchestra Ostfront, you could get into those houses. So again, Tripwire's level design just falls down completely. And this is the thing as well with the combined arms maps. You can tell that they didn't think it through, because, and Commissar's house is like this too. You have a built-up area with lots of, well, not lots of rubble, but a built-up area with buildings and rubble and trenches for the infantry on one half of the map, and on the other half of the map you have total deadpan flat ground for the tanks. It's not like the Red Orchestra Ostfront and Darkest Hour combined arms maps, where the tanks are forced to fight in the streets with the infantry, or the infantry have to advance using the tanks as cover. In the RO2 maps, they are physically segregated because of the way the maps have been designed, and it makes them play like shit. It doesn't play like a combined arms map, it plays like two separate maps happening next to each other. One is a tank map, one is an infantry map. And they almost never cross over. One thing in War Thunder that pisses me off is that there are countries that get stock Sabro shells and others get shitty heat. Yeah, War Thunder has a lot of bizarre decisions when it comes to ammo. And I'll tell you what, one thing I really hate about War Thunder is the fact you have to fucking research repair kits and fire extinguishers. That is a crime as far as I'm concerned. It's not fun or engaging, it is actually fucking infuriating. That is probably the worst mechanic I could think of in that entire game, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why. I'll actually keep that. Cannot for the life of me figure out why Gaijin thought that would be a clever idea. It's just suffering. Well, that's wrong. I know why they thought it would be a clever idea, because they thought people would just spend money because they were so sick of getting set on fire and burning to death. But it's shitty business practice. It's shitty for gameplay, so I find that really offensively bad, gameplay-wise. I'm totally not paying attention at all to what's going on around me. I'm gonna get shot. I'm actually surprised. Normally by now I would have encountered either a scav or heard gunfire in here. Nothing. I think that actually worries me more than if I'd encountered a scav or heard gunfire. Hacks. Would that happen to be, by any chance, Mike Nomad's server? Because Mike Nomad was a symptom of everything that was wrong with RO2's community. He was not a Red Orchestra player before RO2. He had the most obnoxiously shitty attitude I've ever come across in an online game. The fact that he ran a server for as long as he did without everyone just leaving, I don't understand how that happened. Yeah, he would ban people from the server because they killed him, because they were better at the game than him. He was like a 50 or 60-something-year-old fucking redneck who would just endlessly bitch about Obama on public voice chat on his server and team kill people because he wanted their weapon. And then if anyone killed him, you know, even on the other team, he would kick or ban them after, you know, saying some very unsavory things about their family lineage. What's a petushitel? I don't recognize that word. You have to remember, Troll, I am very lazy. I have not studied at all for like the past year. Although it was funny, I was watching, so I don't know if you guys are in my Discord, you would have seen me link some of his videos, but Bald and Bankrupt on YouTube, he's great. He travels all through Eastern Europe, India. He travels to all the places that Westerners don't want to go because they think it's dirty or poor or they'll get stabbed or something. And he blends in with the locals. He talks to them in their own language. He asks them where the right, you know, where the good places are to go and see. He finds things that are actually interesting. He's really good. He's the only travel channel I watch on YouTube, unless you count Rare Earth as a travel channel, which I wouldn't. He did a video. Oh, hello. What's that? Hey, Christian, thanks for the follow. Wait, was that a... That was a subscription, holy fuck. Thank you, dude. Damn, I appreciate it. My alerts are broken on my phone at the moment, so... yeah, he did a video talking about how he learnt to speak Russian, and his Russian is pretty good. In fact, in some of his more recent videos, he's starting to lose his English accent when he speaks Russian. But he said that the thing that most people kind of hit and then give up, and this was true for me, was the grammar, because Russian grammar is a clusterfuck. Well, I mean, English grammar is even worse, but English is my native language, so I can, you know, it's not a problem for me. But things like dealing with cases and genders and stuff like that. So his advice was to just ignore grammar and focus on vocabulary, which I think I'm going to have to start doing so I can pick it back up. Even if I, like, sound like grug, you know, grug hungry, grug need food, at least you can get your point across. Whereas if you don't know anything because you're so hung up on getting the right case, you know, you can't communicate at all. Don't even start Finnish. Yeah. I've got a few Finnish friends, and whenever they start speaking to each other in Finnish, it's like, oh my god, I've fallen into a fucking Lord of the Rings novel. Please help. The first time I heard spoken Finnish, I thought it was like a... Okay, so I had no visual reference for who was speaking it. I only heard it, and I you know, was just working off what my ears were picking up. The first time I heard spoken Finnish, I thought I was hearing some bizarre dialect of like Japanese or Korean, because you know it's from the Uralic branch, which is not in any way close to what I'm used to hearing. And so now I've learned to recognize them. I know what they look like. I know what they sound like. Estonian similar. But at the time, I had no concept of where the fuck that language came from. It was just like, what the fuck is this? I picked up a little bit of German in the same way I picked up a little bit of Russian, just from watching movies and playing games and stuff. So this is the problem, like, I understand a little bit of about 4 or 5 different languages, but the only language I can speak fluently, if you could call it that, is English. I don't even speak that very well, to be dead honest with you. Okay, I think I'm just going to extract pretty soon. I've got good enough stuff here. I don't want to... Oops. I don't want to risk losing it. Yeah, we're going to get out of here. Where are my extracts? Lighthouse and South Fence Passage. South Fence Passage, where's that? I think... Oh, I think I know where that is. Okay. Let's go through the downstairs, because I'm less likely to run into a player down here. When you play Arma, do you play Exile mod? No. I used to play on public invade and annex servers, like, a couple of years ago. But now I pretty much only play organized missions, mostly with the 345th, but I do occasionally play with other friends as well. So, you know, we play proper, like, sort of co-op organized missions. We also do anti-Stasi and things like that, but I've never really done Exile or anything like that. I've played King of the Hill, like, once or twice, and I didn't really enjoy it that much, to be honest. How do I install SRS? It should have a README in there. You've got to put a couple of files in the DCS save games folder from memory, just to get it to hook into the game, but other than that it's pretty easy. It does most of it itself. Is there one German voice actor that COD devs keep using over and over again since COD 2? Yeah, and not just COD, but a lot of games use him. I know exactly the one you mean. The one with, like, the really, how would you describe that, even? Well, I know which one you mean. He's got a really distinctive voice. Hi, Tara. README has nothing about how to install. Weird, it should. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It mostly does it itself. So I've got my SRS installed to its own folder on, just, you know, in program files. And then there's like a file or two it needs to put in the DCS save games folder, I think it is, to get it to hook. Like a Lua script or something. And other than that, just make sure you've got the right input and output devices selected, because I, for the longest time, could not work out why I could hear other people, but they couldn't hear me, until I realized it had picked up the wrong input for my microphone. So, once you get that all set up, it's pretty simple to use. Now, I think the South Fence Passage is the checkpoint over here, I think. But it's that or the lighthouse. The lighthouse, I know where that is, but that's risky to get to. Mind you, there's some good loot on the way there, so I'm just not sure I'm going to have time if I do need to head there. Yeah, I think it's the checkpoint down here. Okay, we'll catch up on chat here. Okay, I see, troll. Yeah. That makes sense now. Kept going on D in the exact same spot where the trenches lead left of D. What level am I? I think like 8 or something. I don't play Tarkov much, to be honest. It's like, Gaijins, fuck you. That fire extinguisher shit, yeah, they are. It's such a cynical thing to try and force people to just... It really is the definition of nickel and diming someone, to try and force them to spend like $1 or $2 just to get the fire extinguisher when they get a new tank. Like, I've had a few times where I've been so frustrated and I've had just a few eagles left, I've been like, yeah, fuck it. I just don't want to deal with this shit. It's such a shitty business practice. Kept satchling him on the last one. I did a countdown. That probably pissed him off. Okay, so when they first added Mamayev Kurgan, I don't know if you were playing back when it was first added to the game. This is ages and ages ago, but the ticket counts were fucked up. It was really badly skewed in the Germans' favour. So if the Germans basically just slammed their head into the wall enough times, the Soviets would run out of tickets before the Germans had even captured halfway up the map, like before they even got to the main bunker. And so, for that reason, I had never seen the Soviets win a single round on that map since it was introduced, and it was generally assumed that it would be an automatic German victory, and most people would mass leave the server if they were stuck on the Soviet team on that map. I got that map one time, I felt like playing Commander, and when I played Commander in RO2, I led from the front very aggressively. With a Papasha... Oh god, this isn't it. Oh fuck me, it is the... Oh shit, it's the other side. Alright. We're just gonna sprint for the fucking lighthouse. I might not have time though. Yeah, so I decided I'd play Commander. I happen to have some very good squad leaders, and it's more their victory than mine what comes next, but we had such precise artillery that we ran the Germans out of tickets before they got to the bunker. Now, by the end of the first round, most people in the server had never seen the Soviets win that map before, and so chat was already getting pretty active, and that I had kind of been taunting the German team right from the start of the game. And by the sort of midpoint of the second round, most of the German team was trying to get me vote banned. We ended up stonewalling them 2 rounds to nothing. On both rounds, the Germans failed to get even halfway up the map before we wiped them out. By the end of the match, my team were just outright trolling them over voice chat. We had one guy playing the Soviet anthem at, like, ear-shattering volume. It was disgusting. I think I ended that match with 500... might have been more, even. It was over 500 points. One of my squad leaders had, like, 800 points. There were people on my team with over 100 kills. It was fucking beautiful. And that is still one of my favourite memories from RO2. Like, as fucked up as the game was and as frustrated as it made me, I'm really glad I got to have that experience. It was so funny. Oh, I walked past it? Fuck. Well, whatever. I'm probably closer to the thing now. Lighthouse. I know words. I still got 7 minutes. Like, the big danger is going to be if there's players by the ferry terminal. If there's nothing there, or if it's just scavs, that's fine. Like, I'm pretty sure I have time to get there if I just sprint. Actually, oh shit, I did drop my fucking energy drink. That would be really useful. I do miss playing as the Soviet commander on RO2. I would always be up the front with my papasha. I would play really aggressively and just hope that my team followed my example. And in a lot of cases, especially on maps like Red October, I would be calling artillery on the Germans from the Germans' own radios. Like, I'd get in behind them and call the artillery from behind them. I kind of figured out actually a really good strategy for Red October, which was if you had a cooperative team that would actually listen to you, you tell them not to attack at the start, you tell them to just hold up and kind of keep the Germans busy. As soon as you get artillery, you call a rocket strike on the first warehouse, the rolling mill I think it is, or the plate mill or whatever it is. Call a rocket strike on that, and the moment the last rocket hits, you have the entire team charge in there and you hit the force respawn, so that literally the entire team is in there. And the Germans can't do anything about it because all of them just got cleaned out by the rocket artillery and suddenly your entire team is in the building. And then you just do that, you surge up the map in waves, and you proceed each wave with rocket artillery, force respawn, and then charge at them, because they can't stop you. Like, they just don't have the numbers to stop you after the rocket strike. But most people wasted artillery on dumb shit. Like, this is the thing I noticed, is most people don't realize the role of the different artillery support in Red Orchestra or Rising Storm 2. They use things like rocket strikes and napalm as a defensive measure when mortars would be more appropriate. Like, mortars are your sort of point defense. Rocket strikes and napalm are your clear out an objective right before you charge the entire team in there. That's what you use them for. And then, you know, the regimental level guns or whatever are your kind of general purpose artillery for anything that's too big for mortars to deal with, but not big enough to drop rockets on. And then I would use those as like an area denial, basically. If I wanted to keep the other team out of a particular area, I'd use the sort of mid-level howitzers to just lock off an approach. And quite often I would drop that behind an objective, between their spawn and the objective, so that they couldn't cross the approach without getting hit. You got to be smart about where you use your artillery, but most people weren't. This is probably going to get me killed. I'm tempted to check the safes in there, but I don't have time. Like, if I get engaged now, I'm not going to have time. We're just going to go with what we've got. Getting greedy gets you killed, as I have learned and relearned several hundred times in Tarkov, and probably a few thousand times in DCS by now. Couple of deja vu moments on Barashka. Of all the maps to port to RO2, Barashka, that map was... I didn't like it a whole lot in RO1. It wasn't bad, but it certainly wasn't my favourite. And then when they ported it to RO2, they didn't fix any of the problems. It's still a wide-open murder fest with no cover or concealment. It's just chest-high walls and trenches. So it really plays into the problems where, you know, they rely too much on the cover system. Oh shit, yeah. Discard. Give me that. And what can I get rid of here? I think I already have a customs key, but I'm not sure, so we're going to get rid of the MRE. There we go. Haha! Some guy kept talking his grandpa being in World War II, and others were shutting him up while he was rushing Sea Bridge. A couple months later, I'd get in on another Barashka map and rush Sea Bridge again. Yeah, I've had a few moments like that. I get really bad deja vu just from day to day. It's really discombobulating. Rising Storm 2, I don't know. It kind of annoys me because it has all of the same problems Red Orchestra 2 has, and then some. So I get frustrated with it pretty easily, and then you've also got the issue that the M16 is Lord God King of the battlefield, and nothing can compete with it. Literally nothing. It is just so much better than everything else. And aside from that, the things like the Mosin, they don't do anywhere near as much damage as much damage as you would expect. There we go. We got there in the end. So, yeah, like, I don't know. It's fun for a while, and then I just get too frustrated to keep playing it, basically. I really need to stop hoarding all these guns. That's alright, we'll start using some of these on raids. We'll sell the scab vest, I guess. Or, actually... yeah, I think I've got some spare decent vests left, so we'll use those. Teabag. Okay. You go there. You go there. This isn't going to fit anywhere, I'll just chuck it in the teabag for now. That can go there. And then we'll just sell this for pocket change. Inventory sim, yeah, exactly. Tetris for the new generation. Okay. So, we'll sell some of the less valuable stuff just to put up order. By less valuable stuff, I mean... where is it? Oh, he won't buy knives? God damn it. I swear he used to. In that case, let's sell... actually, I wonder, I should probably check the market value of this. So, we'll just... you know what, we'll save the selling the medkits and stuff to last. That's not what I want to do. That is... there we go. Filter by item. We got there in the end. 16.8. We'll undercut him by 5. That's kind of my standard amount. Unless I see somebody else undercutting someone by 1, in which case I'll do the same to them. Because I'm a shithead. Oh, fuck. Salt's actually valuable. We'll undercut him by 1, since he did that to the guy above him. Or below him, rather. Only Skier buys knives. I thought he used to buy them, but I don't know. And then we'll get rid of both of these. 15.5 each. Oh, actually 15,000, so we'll go 14,995. Get rid of both of them. What I'll do is I will actually save this for another raid. Shit, I'm actually really geared. Okay. Well, we will take this out. I've got plenty of mags for it, so we'll take... let's see. Take 2 spare mags, that's probably all I'm really gonna need. And then chuck a morphine in there. Actually, no, I'll keep that. Chuck that in there for now. Yeah, I already have a customs key, so the 105 is new. Is this empty? Oh, it's got a key card in it. I won't bother taking a pistol, to be honest. I don't really need one. Just stick with the rifle. And I think... oh, helmet and armor, which is in here. There we go. That should do nicely. That should do very nicely. I think I need to get like a money box or something, so I'm not taking up half my inventory with cash. Oh, jeez. Okay, we won't do a raid right away. We'll sell some of this shit. Hang on. That's my saline solution. Okay, so we'll go back. How much is the customs key? Oh, I don't want that on my wish list. I want to filter by item. 13.5. Blood set, how much is this worth? Only 8,000. These used to be worth a lot. What about the cigarettes? Also not worth much. I think I will actually keep that because I can use it. Yeah, we'll sell the blood set. So how much was that again? 8,000? Probably get more if we go to therapist. We'll see what she'll give us for it. Nope. Okay. We'll do shoreline again. I have never done labs. I do need to go to it at some point. Clearly much more frugal than me. Yeah, I tend not to actually buy very much equipment in Tarkov. I splashed out once on an LK Inspector for an M4 I found. That's like the most money I spent in the game, I think. I won't start buying equipment until I have literally nothing left. Do you ever have a moment where you get in a close quarter hipfire fight with one guy where you both miss each other with every shot and it's bayonet time? Oh my god. So I've got some stories about that. If you go on YouTube to my channel, it's a really old video, so just search on my channel for close quarter, like close quarter combat, and it should come up. That was an encounter I had on Danzig in Ostfront, where I found an MG42 on a staircase in the apartments, and we both missed each other with every shot. It was just like some real Benny Hill shit. Just a failure cascade on both our parts. As for bayonets, I was playing on Grain Elevator one time, and I was in the actual conveyor tower, and the Germans got in behind and captured the ground floor, so I was suddenly cut off. Now, the Germans didn't realize I was in the tower, and I was just a rifleman, just had a 9130 with a bayonet. I had been kind of hyping myself up. I had the Red Army playlist on, or Red Army Choir playlist on full bore. The Internationale was playing. I'm pretty sure I was singing along to it at that point. I was in the headspace. The Red Fury had consumed me. So I went sprinting up the conveyor belt to the second floor where I could hear German voices. There was an entire squad of Germans in there engaging our guys coming up the stairs. I got in there. I fucking bayoneted like 4 or 5 of them before they noticed. And then one of them, in the panic trying to shoot me, dropped a grenade at his feet, which killed me, killed him, and killed the guy next to him. It was beautiful. Like, it must have been really terrifying to see on their screens, because this pissed off dude with a fucking bayonet just comes flying out of the conveyor belt, screaming obscenities at them. And then they all died. I wish I'd been, like, I didn't stream back then, but I wish I'd been recording it with Fraps or something, because that was beautiful. I was laughing so hard for, like, 5 minutes afterwards. I had a lot of moments like that where I really wish I'd been able to record it because it was just something so hilarious or so stupid that I wish I had some kind of physical record of it. Terrified about going to labs. Yeah, the scavs in there are something else. Like, I have enough trouble with normal scavs fucking sniping me with bolt-action shotguns from across the map. The ones on labs, no thanks. And then all the high-level players in there, like, I'm terrified I'll run into fucking Pestily or something. So even if I survive the scavs, I'll get killed by him. Because he does lots of labs, and I've seen him play. Satchel Suicide... Oh, man. Fucking Arid Real Forests, I think it was. It was one of the Arid custom map remakes, where they added the fucking BMW 801 for the Germans, like the motorcycle with the sidecar. And for the fucking Soviets, they had a whole bunch of BA-64s. By the way, one of my life goals is to get a BA-64 or convert a GAZ-64 into one. But yeah, you would see, and this is how the GAZ-64 got its nickname as, or sorry, the BA-64 got its nickname as the clown car in Red Orchestra. You would see 4 or 5 guys crouched and proned out on top of one as it tipped over on 2 wheels, cornering at like 120 kilometers an hour. And there'd be like one guy with an anti-tank rifle, one guy with a Panzerfaust, and the other guy would be throwing satchels. Like he was throwing, you know, birdseed at a bunch of chickens, driving past German tanks. It was fucking hilarious. And you had people that would kamikaze them as well. So if you were in a tank and you just heard this dink and the tank jolted slightly, you knew to just get out and fucking run because you'd just been rammed by a kamikaze BA-64. There's a another video on YouTube. If I wish I could link it, but I'd have to tab out, and that would probably end up in me dying. But there's a video on YouTube. If you search for BA-64 Core NA, as in Core November Alpha, it should come up. And it was like a custom map where they basically had a death race. One team was in BA-64s, and the other team was in tanks, and the BA-64s had to rush the tanks. And it was beautiful. The vehicle physics in Ostfront were really something else. Just something else. But that video and watching people play them as well on Arid is what made me desperately want to, at some point in my life, have a BA-64. Just for the memes. Okay, this is probably the worst place for me to go when I'm by myself on my actual PMC, but, you know, whatever. I think this might be my last raid. I've been streaming for about 2.5 hours. I could use some food and a break. I might be back on later, I don't know, to be honest. I'll work out what I'm going to play. Sure as hell isn't going to be DCS at this rate. Got any of the keys to the rooms in the resort? I am not actually sure. Hang on, I'll check in a minute. That's the wrong thing. This is the thing. Yeah, room 220, room 204, room 218. I assume those are for this, or they might be for customs. I think those are for customs and these are for the resort. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Oh, that's not where I want to go. This is where I want to go. Yikes. That sounds like a shotgun, maybe? Put the giggle switch on. The ones with the red and blue handles for the resort? Okay, then no, I don't have any, I don't think. God damn it, Pom. I'm sorry, dude. Honestly, if I'd known I was going to have such a hard time with DCS, I wouldn't have got on. I would have just stayed and watched, but I wanted to see if the Cold War server was populated, and it turns out that there was an F5 who managed to repeatedly know exactly where to find me without me being able to see him. So I just got tilted and rage quit. I'm gonna go upstairs. Someone's already been up here, I think. Won the map. Nicely done. Are Red blaming it on JSOs and calling for them to be banned yet? Also, dude, if I'm not around, like, I'll do it if I'm around, but if I'm not around and something really good happens, you gotta fucking highlight that shit. That will get you a lot of viewers putting up highlights and stuff. Things that people can watch even when you're not live. Clips and highlights. Oh, there's nothing in that room. Why am I opening that door? Well, there is. There's like a duffel bag, but there's nothing good in that room, is what I should have said. Yeah, mine are pretty long too, but, like, after I'm done streaming most days, I spend the next hour or two looking for stuff to clip. I'm also hoping that with the amount of time I spend sifting through my own VODs, I'll eventually learn to not hate the sound of my own voice, but that's a work in progress. Ooh, gas analyzer. Shit, yeah. It's probably worth more than that site. The thing I hate about Stripper Clip C96 is it was constantly bug out when I shot it empty, would not reload. I didn't really use a C96, so I never encountered that problem, to be honest. One of the things that I did really like about RO2, and this goes back to, you know, they came so close to getting that game right, but then they didn't, is the fact that, if you've noticed, you only have 2 actual magazines, and the rest of your ammo is in stripper clips for the semi-auto rifles, which is accurate. Magazines were usually serial to the rifle, and they were in perpetual short supply. So on average, a soldier with a semi-automatic rifle on either side would be carrying 2 magazines, and the rest of his ammo was in stripper clips. And as well as that, you know, if you had to top it off, it's more convenient to use the clips to do it. So they managed to put that in the game, which was both more realistic and more interesting gameplay-wise, and yet they couldn't give the Germans fucking winter jackets. Unless they were a hero. Because apparently only heroes have enough sense to, you know, dress for the weather. Okay, let's try in here. There's definitely someone around here, but I don't know if it's a scav, a human, or a human scav. I also hate how when you sprint in this, it resets your walk speed to maximum. It's kind of annoying. Although DayZ does the exact same fucking thing, so... Those shots I heard were outside ground level to the left, I think. So, those are footsteps. Downstairs. There might also be a scav sniper, so I don't want to get too close to the window. Debated. If I got shot there, it would have been hilarious. Because I went near the window so I could look at the poster with a plane on it. I wanted to see what kind of aircraft it was. Real Papega hours. Okay. I move nice and slow. Keep my ears open. Oh, speaking of the Nagant revolver, you want to hear a good meme? So, back when the game kind of first came out in the early access, like deluxe edition thing for people that pre-ordered, me and a bunch of the other guys from Something Awful that played it, we had our own server, and we had a bunch of... We had the rules set up to be goon-friendly, basically, so you could team kill all day, and if you were on the whitelist, it wouldn't ban you for it. In fact, it wouldn't even kick you. Now, if pubbies team killed, they would be banned right away. But we could team kill to our heart's content because I think it was Jones that ran it. Jones trusted us to be commissars. Trusted us to be commissars. So, the thinking was, if the pubbies were cowards and wouldn't advance, that we would provide some encouragement. That's where we found out that you could level up a weapon by team killing, because within about a week, Jones had a fucking level 100 suppressed Nagant revolver from team killing people that were sitting outside the cap zone refusing to push up. Head downstairs. I'm tempted to break a window and jump out, but I don't think they're aware that I'm here yet. Let's see. I don't know where that came from specifically. Are they downstairs? Are they in the theater? I'm gonna have to risk it. Have to risk it. I think they might be in here. That's outside. I'm just going to take the back exit and get the fuck out of this complex. Yeet! Where's my exits? Pier boat. That might not be there by the time I get there. I've got killed because I went for the pier boat before, so I don't know if I want to. What was the other one? Tunnel? Tunnel, yeah. So I might go to the ferry terminal and just loot that if I can get away with it. This is a dead end. Don't want to be stuck here. We gotta be careful, there might be guys at the crossing point here. In fact, I think I can hear some. Hello? Scavs? Usually they do come over here. Optics would be handy right about now. I think I might be good. Rock passage down along the stream. How far down? Or is it this here? Alright, hacks. I'm probably be going offline within the next half hour or so. But thanks for stopping by anyway. And if by chance I'm still on when you get back, I'll see you then. Is this it? Okay, can't go any further up there. Invisible walls in 2019. What a joke. Is it here? Hello? Yep, okay, that's the extraction. No, I don't want to extract. Okay, well, I know that's there at least. I want to get some more stuff. He says, after saying previously that greed kills. I already came in here, didn't I? This is where I started. Yeah. Fucking short-term memory of a goldfish. So, actually, I basically started next to my extraction point. That's a pretty good meme. I think I made the right choice to get out of there. I can hear distant gunfire. It's very, very faint, but I can hear it. It's probably suppressed, which would mean a player. A better equipped player than me. Shit. "545" is like fucking spitballs in this game. Is he alone? Hope so. I don't know, I never seem to have much luck with it. Whereas 7.62 by 51 or 54 will fucking just destroy people. And 39 seems a bit more powerful as well. Also, the fucking AK-74 in this probably recoils a little more than it should. Like, it has too much muzzle climb. This rifle is extremely controllable in real life because it's got such an effective muzzle brake, and because it's a relatively small round. It's quite tame to shoot. Internet of the Potato. It might be you. I have had issues with Twitch where my internet's been fine, but Twitch for whatever reason keeps buffering, like I'm downloading something even when I'm not. And I'm not sure why. It's really irritating when it happens, and there's nothing I can really do other than just wait for it to pass. There's this, I think, a scav in there. I saw movement, so I'm gonna bypass that. Just in case he outranges me if he has like a Mosin or something. Oh, there he is. Maybe I can't bypass him, he's coming this way. The iron sights are so hard to see with in Tarkov, because you don't have a useful amount of zoom. Not sure if he's coming up this way, or if he's stopped, or if he's turned around, or what. I don't want to get tunnel vision. But at the same time, I don't want him to come up the hill and shoot me in the back if I continue on. There's another guy back there. Probably best if I just let them go. I think I've got enough of a head start on them that I can get away. See, yeah, in Tarkov, I should probably start using optics more. In armor, I generally don't use optics. Sometimes if I feel like treating myself, I'll do it, but I tend to go for really low-tech gear, because if you can get good with the lowest tech gear, if you can get good with a bone standard AK with iron sights, then you are going to be a god with something with actual decent optics on it. And it's something I notice in, like, you've probably heard me say it in DCS, like, people use active missiles as a crutch. Very much the same way people in armor use optics as a crutch. And as soon as you take away their shiny plaything, they don't know what they're doing. They're crap. So, I kind of try and stick with the old stuff, because even though it can be more frustrating to use, and it can get me killed, it makes me into a better player eventually. After enough frustration and death, it makes me into a better player. It also helps me spot things a lot easier. Like, I have to train my eyes to spot movement at a distance, whereas other people might not even be looking. It's the timer at 32 minutes. It's plenty of time. But I do want to hop off soon. Let's see if anyone's down here. Probably a couple scavs, if they haven't moved on yet. I wish I had some fucking binoculars. Like, a rifle optic is one thing, but fucking binoculars would do the trick. There we go. Of course he sees me! Of course he fucking sees me. What about spotting? I used that Reaper in an offline raid. Found it to be fairly underwhelming. Yeah. If that's the one I'm thinking of, I've never used any of the thermals or optics in this. Or sorry, not optics, like image intensifiers. But if there's the one I'm thinking of, yeah, you run into issues that real life, like rifle mounted thermal sights have, like bad refresh rate. And you know, contrast issues where you might be able to see the target, but you can't see what's going on around them, which is a problem. So that's why I tend to avoid thermals. Oh, fuck. He's right there. Do it. He ain't gonna do it. He's gonna wait for me to come around. Oh, he is coming around. Shit. There's another one. And I missed every single shot. This is so sad. I can't hit him. Oh, and he snipes me with a shotgun. Okay. I don't know if I got him. Fuck, I need to move. Yeah, I got him. Okay. Yeah, that was a shotgun. Pretty sure. They just spam shotgun at you until they finally hit you. Oh, I've got no space for that. Coffee? I gotta move real quick. There's players behind me, I'm pretty sure. I gotta be careful as well, because there might be another scav around here somewhere. I just don't know. I think there's usually a group of 3 here, but there could be a 4th. Oh shit, he had a fucking ADAR? Give me that. Okay, I really gotta get a move on here. Totally exposed. And that shootout would have been a giant, hey, there's loot here beacon to anyone within earshot. Okay. This is the dangerous part here. What I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna check that if I can get over this fucking ankle-high fence. There we go. I'm gonna check the pier. I'm gonna see if the boat's there by going around this way. Then I'm gonna come up from the other side of the ferry terminal, where they're not going to expect a player to appear from if it is a human player. I can't... No, I don't think that's the boat. I don't think. Not 27 minutes. Shit. I'm in a really bad position here. I don't know if it's actually worth looting this place. I think I might just go straight to the tunnel. If I can get away from this guy without him noticing I'm here. I think he's either in that boat shack, or he might have run back to the terminal itself. I don't know if it's a player or a scav. Players are more dangerous, way more dangerous. The last time I got shot here was by a player. And it was because I was trying to use the boat extract. And the boat was there, it just wouldn't register that I was in the right area for it. So he shot me while I was totally exposed out on the pier, which I would rather avoid having happen again. Thought I saw movement there, but it's just the LODs popping in. See if we can see any movement. It's also possible he went to the lighthouse, in which case I wouldn't have seen him. See, there's some really good shit in there, but if there's a player around, it's too dangerous. Way too dangerous. I've already got some good stuff, so we're just going to bail with what we've got. Oh, there he is. Might be a scav. Yeah, it's a scav. How did that not kill him? I fucking shot him in the head. Are you fucking serious? Right. Scabs, dude. Fucking scabs. Oh my god, I got so many Twitch notifications on my phone right now. There we go. Okay, so we might actually be safe to go up here for now, but I gotta be quick because there was a player shadowing me from the north. And there might also be more than one scav. In fact, it's likely there's more than one. I think the problem is the fucking full auto, because the rifle recoils more than it really has business to. There's no one in there. Is there anyone in there? It's alright. You can bind meds and stuff to hotkeys. Yeah, I do. I just keep forgetting to do it. Oh, do I not have any other bandages? That seems like it could become an issue. I thought I did have some. Be real quick about this. Real fucking quick. I'm not going to check the filing cabinet. It's too risky. Oh, that frame rate, yikes. Go upstairs. Straight up. I'm not going to check the computer. I'm just going to check the safes. That's gunshots in the distance. Oh, the car med kit stops bleeding? Okay, good. Look at this horse. You go up. You go in there. I'd be careful. I've been crossing this before and got shot from the car park by scavs that arrived. Okay. Jesus, okay. And of course the cash box in here is on the other side. Can I jump over the chair? No, I can't fucking jump over the chair. Why would I think I could jump over the fucking chair? Well, in terms of keybinds, just the transmit. And for the Tomcat, you don't even need that because it uses the in-game radio transmit key, or the radio menu key for the Tomcat. But yeah, just the push to talk pretty much is it. For the Flaming Cliffs 3 aircraft, you need the overlay because they aren't fully integrated. Oh, that's probably worth a bit. Oh, but it conflicts with my helmet. Fuck. Now we gotta get out of here without getting killed. I'm gonna go onto the beach and stay low. Because even though the beach is really exposed, it's mostly exposed to other people on the beach. So I can see them, they can see me. I don't want to be on the road where I can be seen easily from the hills. Don't think I have my in-game radio buttons bound. You should do, because you need them to talk to the, like, you know, the standard radio menu button, like to talk to the ground crew to get them to arm the plane and stuff like that. Or to call for AWACS. Those buttons. That's what the Tomcat uses. Minutes. Oh shit, I'm getting a bit dehydrated. We're gonna stop here and have a sip. And by a sip, I mean we're gonna drink the whole fucking thing. There, I got a free magazine slot, so if I need to reload, I can without tossing the mag. You did your spare mag? It doesn't matter, I got plenty. I'm actually overloaded on 545 AK mags. I'm running out of space for all the ones I have. Okay, can't see any scavs on the island. Wait, yes I can. Right there. One of them. Two of them. No? One. He's probably not going to engage me. He probably isn't even going to see me, to be fair. Well, he might. I'm not going to fuck with him. I'm too close to my extract to be drawing attention from either scavs or players now. I'm just going to try and run past. What I'm concerned about is if there's one in that block post up there, or if there's one in the, like, traffic jam by the bunker, or by the tunnel rather. That's where I'm going to be in danger from. Or players arriving at the tunnel. crappy brown ones, hey. Beautiful orange bakelite. Actually, I wish they'd add like a full-on AK magazine economy, so then you could have like the super rare fucking plum-colored, well, not super rare, but the rare plum-colored ones, and the fucking turbo-rare green ones. The green ones are worth so much because they were from special presentation rifles issued to the border guards during Soviet times. I don't think they issue them anymore. And those rifles had actual like inscribed plates presented by Mikhail Kalashnikov. So those are worth a fuck ton. Oh yeah, we Gucci. We fucking Gucci. Now I gotta find space for all this crap. It's going to take me as long to organize my inventory to fit all this as it took me to actually run that raid. Hey goats, you have arrived just before I get off, unfortunately. But I might stream again later. I just need a break and some food. Headshot bonus, who the fuck did I headshot? Considering it took me that many rounds to drop everyone. Yeah, I was doing some DCS earlier, but I gave up because it was just running like shit. And I kept getting ambushed by F5s because we had no GCI. And then when I went on Growling Sidewinder server, it was just a freeze fest. And then my internet dropped. It's like everything that could go wrong did. And even some things that couldn't go wrong went wrong. Okay. What I'm going to do is put that in there. I'll keep that in there. This will become my primary. This will go here. That can sit there for now. Look at all these splints. Put this here, this here. No, you stay there. Splint, splint. I've got to do something about those, they're half used. Okay. This can go down here out of the way. That can go there. Jesus, I've got a lot of fucking rifles now. What's that? 545? Yeah. I think it's shitty 545, but it's 545 all the same. I'll put this down here because I want to keep it. We'll sell that so that can go there, that can go there. Okay, I need bandage. We'll put that in, we'll put this in here. Oh, gas analyzer comes out. That is getting sold. Morphine can go in here as well. Oh, actually that can go in there. Then a splint can go in there. Take a bottle of water. That can go there. Where's my other Stanag? I swear I had another Stanag. I might have sold it. That's going to be a slight whoopsie. That's right, I'll buy an empty Stanag or something before my next raid. That works out just fine. Okay. We're pretty much set. Let's So now I just gotta trade some shit. Some reason you ignored the armor-piercing BS rounds. I didn't even notice them, to be honest with you. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Wait, no, that is what I want to do. How many offers have I got? 2. How much is Alkali worth? Not much. How much is Tetris worth? A fucking shitload! Oh, oh, oh boy. 150,000. Oh, no, this is how I want it. Okay, 140,000 is the cheapest. Fuck. Okay, 139,999. There we go. We'll be a shithead and undercut that guy by 1. How much is coffee? 32,000. Jesus. Alright. You can take Tetris for Bitcoin. Well, oops. Oopsie daisies. Oopsie daisies. Wait. Can I... There we go. Remove. Yes. So who do I do that with, or is that on the market? Bitcoin. How do I find a trade for the specific item I have? That wasn't what I wanted to do. That really wasn't what I wanted to. Checkpoint, checkpoint. Ibuprofen, defib, rubles. Defib. Safe. Mechanic? Okay. Aha! Yes. Oh my god. Fucking MP7 seal. Let's just inspect all of this shit while we're at it. Okay. I now have a Bitcoin. And now I can put something else up for offer. Bleach was pretty valuable, hey. 20,000? Oh wait, no. Wrong way. There we go. 14,950. How much is this? Not that valuable. How about this? Not as much. About the horse? Yeah, we'll sell the horse now. And 14,200. So 14,195. There we go, and before I get locked into an hour and a half of trading, I'm going to call it there. So that was pretty successful. I think that's the most success I've had in Tarkov so far. Well, it was only 2 raids, but I didn't die in either of them. So, there we go. Let's see. where I can send you guys. Oh, nope. Wrong button. Well, there's only a couple of you on here. There's a couple of people playing DCS, but you know what? Let's just go say hi to Anita. Once I work out how to technology. Ah, okay, cool. Twitch, just don't work. That's fine. There we go. Alrighty. I will catch you guys possibly later, or possibly tomorrow. And yeah, we'll definitely have to play Tarkov together sometime. There we go.